over what time scale do you think old-style TV is still going to be important?
Well, can I put you on the spot? Old-style TV, how would you describe old-style TV?
The sort of channels that I get in my hotel room here.
I would have told you that I thought the TV marketplace, both from a commercial marketplace as well as from a consumer perspective, was on the verge of changing more radically, and probably would have changed within the next 3 years and look very different in terms of what we elect to get, when we want it, and how we get it. And that part's still true. On the commercial side, I think it's slowed down a bit. I think the 2009 global economic situation and its impact on the more traditional media owners has caused some retrenching, resetting, if you will, of their business models. And I think as such, I'm not so sure that the business model side is going to move as fast as we as consumers have the options to self-select and watch what we want when we want.
I think we've done pretty well, actually, to have got as far as this without anybody mentioning the recession so far.
Okay.
That's what happens when you have volcanoes going. You put things in perspective. Thank you. Another question from the audience, please. So, one here, please.
Peter Toon from Starcom Melbourne. Just a quick one. How do you see the relationships between the agencies evolving over the next few years as this content space becomes more essential, I suppose, but obviously they've got, particularly probably creative agencies traditionally, have got a vested interest in maintaining control?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's loaded, you know that. But I've never avoided a question like this in my career. I won't avoid it now. What I would say to you is that, first of all, I think that there is a blur, and the blur most immediately is between digital agencies and media agencies. And forgive the commercial message, but that's why formations of things like VivaKi were created. I know our competitors are forming similar combinations, so I don't mean to make it sound like it's so precious to us or not, but I think you're seeing that connection now. I think what I would draw a delineation on beyond putting digital and analog together in a more seamless fashion in service of our clients, and I mean content in contact, I think the next step is what I was trying to carve out at the end of my remarks, which is I think our job as media connections planners and media professionals is that we need to be more aggressive in helping source content and really sourcing that content from our relationships with media owners. And I think you'll see we will play a bigger role in sourcing. I don't think that will change, though. I'm not so presumptuous to think that our media agencies are going to be the owners of as I said, the next big idea. Occasionally that'll happen, but I don't think it's going to be the thing I expect of the media agencies, and I would expect still of the creative agencies. So I think we're still going to get creative expressions of big ideas, and they're going to come from creative agencies. I think that the media agencies are going to move from placement, even clever placement, to more of to play an additional role of strategic sourcing, which is going to change, I think, the partnership we have and how we leverage our scale as much as our relationships with media owners. And that conversation is going to move from price to a place of interesting content that our clients can own and ultimately adapt and maybe even manipulate to the benefit of their own marketing communications needs.
Okay, that relates to a question that's been coming in on text, which basically says, how are agencies going to find people with the right media, creative, and content skills?
That's a really good question. And I guess a part of my answer, because it won't be complete, a part of my answer would be, I think in the same way we as media agencies found people who could help us do content or contact planning, We dipped into people who were from research companies or agencies who had hired people called account planners, and we switched them and changed their discipline and their expertise from helping write interesting messaging to placing it in the most appropriate places. I think we're going to find some creative people that are wired slightly differently and see an interesting opportunity and a career path to express their creativity from a standpoint of creativity in the construct of maybe borrowed media, borrowed content from the owners, in such a way that they'll be looking a little bit more, as I said, like alchemists or media stylists. Mm-hmm. But I think those people are going to come from creative agency ranks, and I want to be careful that makes it sound like media agencies taking over the world again, and I don't mean that. I just think that's where some of this talent's going to come from. I've seen firsthand the reverse happen, where we have found digital media people who really wanted to do much more and were looking for a way to express and contribute into our industry in a way much more than being a digital planner or a digital buyer of websites and the like. So I think they're going to come from different places. And I know that the last place that I think we're going to get them from is, there are schools out there like the Michael Conrad's Berlin School for Creativity. And I know that Michael has a specific section in his school now that's all about media stylists. And I think he too sees that there's going to be another discipline that doesn't exist in our industry right now that maybe is going to be this kind of individual. And where they sit and what agencies, at the end of the day, maybe we shouldn't care. Again, if Scott was here, he'd say that we all have to work together. No one agency's got all the answers. So it's all about providing a collaborative environment and doing what's right for the clients that we all represent.
And I'm sure everybody's had very happy experiences of working in that collaborative environment. But perhaps
had mixed.
Thinking about that, there's another question that's come through by text, rather more prosaically, saying, what agency made what out of the social campaign for Coke? Now, I don't expect you to give us numbers, but proportionately?
Ask me again, I'm sorry.
I think somebody would like to know who made the money.
Who made the money in the social media space? Well, at the end of the day, I sure hope it's Coca-Cola, because that's how we ultimately will make our own money. I think in the social space, my Coke experience has been that the more powerful social experiences that they either have launched or are launching are tied together with their PR agency. And I think those PR agencies, it's a part and an extension of what they've asked them to do. So I don't think it's been the same it's obviously not the same as a paid media placement. No. This is about, extending your relationships with a media agency or PR agency. I think Coca-Cola's had at least two really interesting examples in the social media space that were intentional, planned, and are expanded. And they've had the one sort of unintentional where somebody put some Mentos in a Coca-Cola Light and built some mild explosives. But I think the other examples in social space, the Expedition 206, which is the social extension version of Open Happiness, which is going around the world encouraging consumers, lovers of Coke, to give expressions of what makes them happy. I think that's a really powerful and interesting project, of which who knows how big it ultimately can become. But my guess is that it was business as usual or an expectation from, in this case, the Coca-Cola PR agency. I think the other thing is that I had to go write down their names because I just brutalized, kill it. There were a couple people that were just individual consumers, a Dusty Sung and a Michael Jetterwisky. And these are two people who just started building a website because of their love of Coke. And the Coke people in Atlanta found these people and have formed a new partnership with them in such a way that they are building out that Facebook website and hopefully, knock on wood, to the mutual benefit of not only the million lovers that already go to that site, but hopefully, we need 1.5 billion incremental, so we need a whole lot more people visiting and participating in that Facebook site.
Relating to that, one of our questioners would like to know, rather prosaically, if you How do you measure the return on investment from the Coke tour?
Can I, ignition? I'm sure there's a number of things. I'm going to default to what I know from a media perspective versus versus being a PR or expert, which I'm not. People are going to measure exposures, whether in all the traditional media forms, whether they are covered in a news story or it's in a paid environment. And you're going to count heads that are attending the events themselves. The part that's going to be hard to measure, and I think really an indirect measurement, is going to be the number of people we can add into the Coke lover social community at the end of the day, is really what kind of lasting impact this has, and has the content created by Coke and sponsored by Coke, has that really generated has it resonated with people in such a way that they say, you know what, these Coke guys gave me something of value, I feel positively about the company, and I'm going to show that in the marketplace or in my personal consumption patterns. So that part is a little vague to me as well. But if I know anything in this digital age, what isn't measured yet will be measured tomorrow.
Sure, that's right. The questions are still coming in. Can I reassure you all now that those questions that are texted through that don't get answered during the sessions will be answered later, and you'll see the respondents coming up with their answers on the screen outside. So don't feel you're being ignored. Thank you very much. And thank you, Jack. It was great.
Thank you.